The Intamin Accelerator coaster is one of the most innovative coaster models ever created. Its famed hydraulic launch was the muscle for numerous record-breaking coasters. However, because of this innovation, the model is also one of the most problematic. One theme park executive even called it the worst business decision he ever made. And now with Top Thrill Dragster being renovated, Formula Rossa experiencing a lengthy downtime, and very credible rumors of Kingda Ka being removed, it is time we take a deep dive into the history and inner workings of the model, and explain why the Accelerator coaster was both a success and a failure. The history of this model starts 25 years ago at Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California. In March of 2000, Knott's Berry Farm closed the wildly problematic Togo dueling coaster Windjammer Surf Racers. It would be standing but not operating for the next 15 months as it was used as evidence during a lawsuit against the manufacturer. Eventually, in July of 2001, Knott's Berry Farm dismantled the coaster, making way for Xcelerator the following season. This would be the prototype Accelerator coaster, even getting the name Xcelerator, just spelled differently, with an X at the beginning. It would feature the first ever hydraulic launch system, and it would launch riders from 0 to 82 miles per hour in 2.3 seconds. This new type of system allowed for more rapid accelerations and higher speeds than previously seen, resulting in the world records that would eventually come. The system features various oil and air tanks that power a motor to spin a cable connected to the train. Hydraulic pumps rapidly inject hydraulic fluid into multiple accumulators, each with two compartments separated by a piston. As fluid enters one compartment, it compresses gas in the other. When the pressurized fluid is released, it drives motors that turn a large winch drum. This winch pulls a cable connected to a catch car beneath the train. Two launch cables run from the winch through grooves on the launch track, attaching to the sides of the catch car, which moves in a trough. A third retractor cable is attached to the back of the catch car, looping around a pulley at the end of the launch track and returning to the hydraulic building, where it winds on the winch drum in the opposite direction. The train connects to the catch car with a launch dog, a solid piece of metal that drops from the center car. Normally retracted by a magnet, the launch dog drops when the area's electrical contacts demagnetize it. When the train and catch car are aligned and everything is clear, the operator presses the launch button, initiating the sequence. First, the launch dog releases, then the drive tires retract, allowing the train to roll back slightly until the launch dog engages with the catch car. Next, anti-rollback magnetic brakes retract, and about 5 seconds later, launch valves open, allowing compressed nitrogen to push hydraulic fluid into turbines that drive the winch. As the winch pulls the launch cables, the retractor cable unwinds. The launch dog holds the train in place only by the force from the accelerating catch car. Brakes on the launch track activate right after the train passes proximity switches. As the train reaches full speed and the pressure in the accumulators begins to deplete, the catch car, still attached to the train, enters its braking zone. The catch car is stopped by its own magnetic brakes similar to those of the train. It also slows quickly due to its lighter weight, and as it does, the train's launch dog retracts into position, secured by the magnet as the train continues onward. After the catch car stops, the system resets. The winch reverses to return the catch car to the launch area via the retractor cable, and the pumps recharge the accumulators, usually taking about 45 seconds for the next launch. If the train rolls back, it will stop well before reaching the station or switch track. Regardless of the catch car's position, there will be no interference since the launch dog is retracted. Once the train nearly stops, brakes will be cycled to control its speed back to the launch position. For larger coasters, this reset process can exceed a minute, as the train must be moved slowly. Once in position, the train can either be launched again or returned to the station. The number of pumps, accumulators, and turbines varies based on the coaster's design speed. For instance, Matugania Lost Island, the slowest accelerator coaster, operates at 47 miles per hour with 1 pump, 1 accumulator, and 8 turbines. In contrast, Kingda Ka at Six Flags Great Adventure, the second fastest coaster in the world, reaches 128 miles per hour, utilizing 7 pumps, 4 accumulators, and 32 turbines. The entire system can produce up to 20,800 horsepower, though typical launches use less than 10,000 horsepower. The system also offers constant acceleration, creating a rapid and smooth increase in speed that enhances the ride experience. Unlike linear induction motors, or LIMs, which deliver an initial burst that quickly fades, The hydraulic system maintains steady acceleration through pressurized fluid flow. This design is also energy efficient, as the pumps operate continuously but at a lower, more stable power level. As genius as this prototype was, it didn't come without problems. Most of these resulted from the countless moving parts. An endless amount of retractable brake fins line the entire launch track, and on every launch they have to move down to disengage before the launch, and then they have to move back into position in case of a rollback. Every one of these brakes has their own sensor as well, and these sensors are very sensitive. Errors thrown by any of the brake fin sensors were the number one reason for the numerous short bouts of downtime that plagued the model. There's also lots of wear and tear on the cable and other components of the launch. Pulling a 15-ton coaster train at 80 miles per hour takes a lot of force, and then to do that hundreds of times every single day puts so much strain on the system. All of these moving parts plus the wear and tear results in many of the incidents we will get to later in this video. It also results in lots and lots of downtime. Most prototype coasters are going to have downtime and incidents. That's just the price of innovation. However, the hydraulic launch coasters in particular became infamous for that very reason. Planning and design for the next Accelerator coaster actually began before Accelerator at Knott's opened, occurring shortly after the completion of Millennium Force in 2000. Construction wouldn't begin until 2 years later when work started on concrete footings. These would be hidden behind a fence, and nothing official came from the park until August of that year, when the park confirmed they were building something for the 2003 season. In addition, testing was conducted on Accelerator at Knott's, where they launched unloaded trains at over 100 miles per hour to test the limits of the hydraulic launch system. However, the official announcement wasn't made until January 9, 2003. It was revealed that Top Thrill Dragster would open as the tallest and fastest coaster in the world, standing 420 feet tall and reaching 120 miles per hour. Its media day was made on May 1, 2003, and it opened 3 days later. A faulty valve on the hydraulic system caused a period of downtime shortly after it opened. Even after this issue was solved, Dragster continued to experience frequent closures during the opening season. A year later, on July 13, 2004, at 8:20 p.m., fragments of the launch cable sheared off, striking many of the riders. All of the injuries were relatively minor, and most were treated on the ride platform. 2 riders were treated at the park's first aid station, while 2 others sought further treatment at a local hospital the following day. Dragster was shut down for the evening. The following month, Hersheypark announced that it had hired Intamin to construct a launched coaster in the Pioneer Frontier section of the park. This coaster would end up being Storm Runner, the first Accelerator coaster with inversions. Work began on the coaster in February of the following year, with testing ending in April. Storm Runner opened on May 8, 2004, and was so popular, Hersheypark was forced to extend the queue. And then on September 29, 2004, Six Flags Great Adventure announced Kingda Ka, Intamin's latest attempt to break the height and speed record. Kingda Ka would stand 456 feet tall, which was 36 feet taller than the previous record, and launch riders to 128 miles per hour in 3.5 seconds, which was a top speed 8 miles per hour faster than Dragster. The record-breaking coaster was originally slated to open in late April of 2005, but was delayed for a month, finally opening on May 21. 1 month into its operation, however, the coaster would suffer an incident that put it out of service for 3 months. On June 8, 2005, a bolt failed inside a trough through which the launch cable travels. This caused the liner to come loose, creating friction on the cable and preventing the train from accelerating to the correct speed. The cable rubbing against the trough caused sparks and shards of metal to fly out from the bottom of the train. The ride was closed for almost 2 months following the incident. Damage occurred to the launch cable, which was frayed and required replacement, and it also caused minor damage to seals and brake fins. The incident caused stress on a number of fins, and Six Flags did not have enough replacements. Extra brake fins had to be ordered from Intamin in Europe, and the ride had to undergo thorough testing following the repair. It finally reopened on August 4. This model is really starting to catch popularity as 4 other Accelerator coasters opened around the world in 2005. However, these being a little bit less notable. 2 of the smallest hydraulic launch coasters ever built, Rita located at Alton Towers and Kanonen at Liseberg, were constructed in this year. Superman Escape, one of the most themed coasters of the model, opened near the end of the year on December 26, and 1 other Accelerator, this being Skycar located in China, opened in 2005. In 2006, 3 more Accelerators were built, most notably Stealth at Thor Park, which, due to the closure of Dodonpa, now holds the quickest launch in the world at 0 to 80 miles per hour in 1.8 seconds. Also built this year were Speed Monster at TusenFryd in Norway and Saturn at Space World in Japan, which only operated for 11 years before going defunct. Then in 2007, Intamin would use the hydraulic launch system on a wing coaster, Furious Baco at Portaventura. When it opened, it was the fastest roller coaster in Europe, although that record has now been passed by another Intamin creation at Portaventura with Red Force. One other accelerator opened in 2007, this being Desert Race at Hersheypark in Germany. Nothing notable happened in 2008, however there would be multiple notable incidents in 2009. At the beginning of the season, Kingda Ka was struck by lightning, causing significant repairs and putting it out of service until August. A month after Kingda Ka reopened on September 16, Xcelerator suffered one of the worst accidents in the model's history. The ride was operating normally before the cable snapped on the launch. Metal flew into the air, hitting multiple riders on the train, including the leg of a 12-year-old boy who was sitting in the front row. An investigation revealed that the park only inspected the ride every 6 months, contrary to Intamin's recommendation of every month. This resulted in a lawsuit that was resolved with an out-of-court settlement in 2011. Then a year later, Intamin would construct Formula Rossa, which opened as the world's fastest roller coaster, reaching a top speed of 149 miles per hour. However, Intamin would never have the opportunity to outdo themselves, as this would be the final Intamin accelerator coaster ever built, just 8 years after the model was created. Over the next decade, there would be many more minor incidents, such as launch cables failing and riders being struck by birds. The most notable of these incidents was when a cable completely snapped on Rita at Alton Towers during a morning test run of an unloaded train. The rides still featured lengthy stretches of downtime and were still a massive nuisance to the parks, but nothing would result in severe injury or death. However, that sadly changed on October 15, 2021. As Top Thrill Dragster was nearing the brake run on a normal ride cycle, an L-shaped bracket flew off of the train, striking a guest in the head who was waiting in the queue. This bracket, called a flag plate, is about the size of a human hand and is located on the back of the train. It is responsible for sending signals to the ride's computer system. The guest was immediately taken to a nearby hospital and treated for severe injuries. An investigation by the state of Ohio found that half of the bolts securing the flag plate had come undone, but confirmed that the ride had undergone regular maintenance, including an inspection the night before the accident, which had deemed the ride to be in good working order. The state of Ohio determined that Cedar Point did not violate any state laws, nor did the park have reason to believe the ride was unsafe at the time. They essentially came to the conclusion that this was sadly just a freak accident. The injured guest was reported to have suffered a traumatic brain injury, and their family filed a lawsuit against Cedar Point in 2023. The case was settled in April 2024 under confidential terms. After this accident, the ride would remain closed for the next 2 years before Cedar Point would reimagine the ride, transforming it into Top Thrill 2, which opened earlier this year. Also in 2024, Formula Rossa would close for an extended period of time, and still has not reopened as of the recording of this video. Ferrari World might just be waiting on a part, however the ride has been out of service for about 10 months, so it could be more than that. And finally, the world's tallest roller coaster, Kingda Ka, will likely close at the end of this operating season. According to a post by Coaster Studios, the ride won't even get an official closing announcement, but rather just close at the end of the season. This is really sad to see because a ride that held the height record for almost 2 decades deserves more of a send-off. So if the rumors about Kingda Ka are true and Ferrari World decides to take a similar route, the 3 largest accelerator coasters, which were all world record holders at one time, will all cease to exist. Ultimately, the Intamin accelerator coaster has a complicated legacy. It broke the world height and speed record 3 times, and every single installation featured a powerful launch which would pin you to the back of your seat. It would almost always be the most intense coaster at any park which had one. However, it was and is a maintenance nightmare for parks, leading to extreme unreliability and extended periods of downtime. It's no wonder former Cedar Fair executive Dick Kinzel called Top Thrill Dragster the worst business decision he ever made. However, as an enthusiast, I'm thankful for the experiences I've been able to have on Intamin hydraulic launch coasters, and there are millions of other park guests throughout the world who have been able to say the same. And that does it for this video about the history of the Intamin accelerator coaster. Leave your thoughts about this model in the comments down below, and as always, thanks for watching.